This girl once dreamed of a poisonous snake that seduced her and was impossible to resist. In real life she was dealing with an extremely attractive man that was pursuing her that she didn't trust. The snake reflected her view of this man being a player and just telling her whatever she wanted to hear in order to sleep with her. Example 2. A woman dream of a white snake. In waking life she lived in a strict religious community. Due to the religious laws of this community she was unable to express herself or do anything that wasn't approved by the community. The white snake reflected her feelings about the strict morality laws of the religious community corrupting all her happiness. Example 3. A man once dreamed of running through a forest trying to avoid snakes. In real life he was confronting a number of dangerous problems at once. Example 4. A woman once dreamed of being choked by a snake. In real life she was resisting revealing her sexual desire for a co-worker out of fear that she'd be fired. The snake reflected her fear of being fired that was preventing her from expressing her feelings. Example 5. A woman dreamed of being threatened by a number of dark brown snakes. In waking life her husband threatened to leave her and not talk to her again. The dark brown snakes reflected her fear of losing her husband that could spoil her family life forever. Example 6. A woman dreamed of a gray snake chasing her. In waking life she was having anxiety about the COVID-19 virus destroying her business and harming her daughter. The snake in this case may have reflected her anxieties about COVID-19 corrupting or ruining all her hopes for her business and family. Example: a man dreamed of fighting with a python. In waking life he was struggling against debt collectors that he felt were going to slowly bankrupt him or squeeze him dry if he cooperated with them at all. Example: a lesbian woman dreamed of a brown cobra snake in her house. In waking life she felt that her girlfriend didn't contribute to the household as much as she did while also fearing her girlfriend breaking up with her if she demanded more from her. The cobra in this case may have reflected her feelings about herself dancing to the tune of all her girlfriend's wishes because she feared ending the relationship. Example 2. A woman dreamed of trying to avoid 4 cobra snakes. In waking life she was having serious problems with fiancés while trying to cut off expenses that other family members didn't want to discontinue. The cobra snakes may have reflected her feelings about fearing her family and doing whatever they wanted even when the finances were struggling. Example: a woman dreamed of eating shed snake skin. In waking life she had interest in a man, but her strong religious father and personal faith made her feel that considering it even in passing may be immoral. Example: a woman dreamed of a rattlesnake. In waking life she was receiving threats from lawyers about losing custody of her child. Example 2. A woman dreamed of someone pointing to a rattlesnake. In waking life she was beginning to see warning signs that her boyfriend was thinking of cheating on her and causing problems with their relationship. She had caught him looking at other girls. Example 3. A man dreamed of a rattlesnake. In waking life he didn't trust his boss and felt that continuing to work for him may have serious consequences. Example 4. A young man dreamed of rattlesnakes clinging to his arm. In waking life he felt embarrassed that his girlfriend threatened to break up with him if he didn't stop pressuring her into sex. Example 5. A woman dreamed of having a rattlesnake in her mouth. In waking life she was preparing to make legal threats to her neighbor. Snake skin: to dream of snake skin represents you or someone else that projects the feeling of corruption, contamination, or threats of total failure. Feelings projected about the possibility of corruption, ruination, or failure. Suspicious feelings about others trying to corrupt or ruin you. To dream of wearing snake skin clothing represents an aspect of your personality that feels as though it's corrupting anything not listening to it. The personality that chooses to get back at people with corruption or total failure for not listening. To dream of shedded snake skin represents feelings about behavior not longer needing to think of a previous way of corruption, insidiousness, or being subjected to the fear of total failure. Feelings of corruption that are not important or serious anymore. Immorality or corruption experienced as a past issue. Example: a woman dreamed of eating shed snake skin. In waking life she had interest in a man, but her strong religious father and personal faith made her feel that considering it even in passing may be immoral. Snakes. To dream of a poisonous snake represents feelings about corruption or contamination. Snakes in dreams also tend to reflect a person's fear of total failure or serious losses. Feelings about a person or problem totally permanently ruining you. A dangerous or tricky problem you want to avoid. Areas of your life that spoil everything associated with them. People that can't be trusted or that you feel are dangerous to not avoid. A snake could also reflect your own lack of integrity or deceptive behavior. Noticing yourself being an evil asshole. A snake may also represent a bad influence or a person that you don't like. A person with no family values. Often snakes point to situations that are difficult to resist, morally troublesome, or have traps that you wish to avoid. Snakes may also reflect bad habits, people, or situations that sour your mood, spirit, or good intentions. An addiction that is difficult to resist. To dream of being bitten by a snake represents feelings about having succumbed to negative influence or feelings of total failure. Feelings of corruption that have overwhelmed you. Giving into addictions to bad influences. Suffering a loss of some kind. To dream of fearing being bitten by a snake represents your fear of losing something important or a fear of total failure. You may fear losing power, control, safety, or your integrity. To dream of a dead snake represents overcoming a corrupting or negative influence in your life. It may also reflect a threat of total loss that is dissipating. Black snakes usually represent a fear of total failure. It may also reflect your feelings about the potential for corruption or excessive losses. A fear of enemies getting to control you or ruin you. Alternatively, a black snake may represent your full awareness of yourself being a liar or bad influence. Organized planning to steal or destroy other people's integrity. A copper-colored snake represents a fear of losing an opportunity to get something you are desperate to have. Fearing total loss of something you are hopelessly striving for. Allowing your desire to scare you. A fear based on a delusional belief that if you lose something special that you will lose everything you have. Alternatively, copper-colored snake could represent your own hopeless or desperate attempts to scare others with total failure. Risking everything you have to corrupt others that only embarrasses you. It can also point to hurting people, lying, cheating, stealing, or disrespecting others because you can't have what you want. A light brown snake is often mistaken for a copper-colored snake, so consider both colors for your dream. A light brown snake represents a fear of loss or total failure due to an improvement in your life. Fearing that fixing something will make your life worse. A positive opportunity to improve yourself that scares you. Powerful insecurity or a fear of embarrassment if you achieve your goals. For example, a boy you like finding out you're a bad kisser or a virgin if you end up dating him. Or fearing the government demanding more money from you if you are honest with your taxes. A copper snake is often mistaken for a light brown snake, so consider both colors for your dream. To dream of a dark brown snake may represent a fear of an improvement in your life spoiling other areas of your life. Fearing getting rid of a problem because it will make your life worse. Fearing getting rid of something important to you and becoming a failure because of it. Alternatively, a dark brown snake may reflect your own deceptive intentions to force someone else to get rid of something they don't want to get rid of. A white snake represents a fear of total loss caused by a requirement to be perfect. Good intentions that cause others total failure. Something genuine or positive in your life that corrupts or contaminates everything else around it. Something with good intentions that has no tolerance for alternative choices. A white snake with blue venom may represent consequences that are in your best interest, but don't feel good. A fear of maturing or having to be honest. A total evil asshole in your life that demands perfection that you feel is excessive. To dream of a light blue snake represents a positive person or situation that scares you with losing all you have if you don't behave positive. A fear of total failure if you are caught doing a single thing wrong. It may reflect something in your life that is being guarded or that demands total adherence to specific rules. Alternatively, a light blue snake may reflect a positive person or situation that is antagonistic to your goals. A good person that undermines you. A dark green snake represents a corrupting influence that is selfish, arrogant, or greedy. Selfish thoughts or habits that undermine other more positive areas of your life. A strong need to put yourself first or powerful insecurities that derail a genuine endeavor. Selfishness that corrupts all else. A fear of total failure due to someone else's selfishness. To dream of riding on the back of a snake represents feelings about something dangerous you are using to scare people away from you. Enjoying making people feel you are dangerous. Feeling that it's easy to scare people with severe losses if they get in your way. Alternatively, it may reflect a feeling of safety you get from being able to make other people feel you are too dangerous. To dream of being choked by a snake may represent feelings about a negative influence that is preventing you from expressing yourself. Females often dream of snakes when they fear sex, getting pregnant, or losing their virginity. Example: a girl once dreamed of a poisonous snake that seduced her and was impossible to resist. In real life she was dealing with an extremely attractive man that was pursuing her that she didn't trust. The snake reflected her view of this man being a player and just telling her whatever she wanted to hear in order to sleep with her. Example 2. A woman dream of a white snake. In waking life she lived in a strict religious community. Due to the religious laws of this community she was unable to express herself or do anything that wasn't approved by the community. The white snake reflected her feelings about the strict morality laws of the religious community corrupting all her happiness. Example 3. A man once dreamed of running through a forest trying to avoid snakes. In real life he was confronting a number of dangerous problems at once. Example 4. A woman once dreamed of being choked by a snake. In real life she was resisting revealing her sexual desire for a co-worker out of fear that she'd be fired. The snake reflected her fear of being fired that was preventing her from expressing her feelings. Example 5. A woman dreamed of being threatened by a number of dark brown snakes. In waking life her husband threatened to leave her and not talk to her again. The dark brown snakes reflected her fear of losing her husband that could spoil her family life forever. Example 6. A woman dreamed of a gray snake chasing her. In waking life she was having anxiety about the COVID-19 virus destroying her business and harming her daughter. The snake in this case may have reflected her anxieties about COVID-19 corrupting or ruining all her hopes for her business and family. Please see boa constrictor, please see rattlesnake, please see pythons, please see cobras. Mamba snake. To dream of a mamba snake represents feelings about corruption, contamination, or total failure that likes a situation exactly the way it is. Fear of total failure from an issue that doesn't mind if you don't change it. Emotionally deadly or lethal passivity. A situation or person that feels good thinking nothing is wrong while being deadly. Feeling that dangerous situation is not laughing at you, but strikes with total failure if you don't do anything about it. Feelings about someone or something that doesn't look angry, but has the potential to cause total failure if left as it is. The worst problem ever that doesn't look like it wants to be. Negatively, dreaming about a mamba snake represents feelings about someone too adorable, old, famous, rich, or busy to believe they are deadly. Failure from something you didn't believe minded you. A sense of something being emotionally lethal to accept someone else's problem. Potentially lethal behavior that feels good guilty and doesn't think it's polite to bother it. Potentially lethal failure that doesn't think it's better than you and never wants to talk to you at all. Feelings about the threat of total failure that doesn't want you to believe anything is wrong. Pythons. To dream of a python may represent fear of total failure or losses that you can't escape. Feeling that a person or situation will permanently put the squeeze on you if you give them any leverage at all. Fearing being destroyed by an enemy that never lets go once they get a grip on you. A problem or negative situation that feels too strong to free yourself from. Believing that once something gets leverage over you that you'll never escape it. Positively, a python may reflect your attempt to overpower enemies or problems. Squeezing the competition. Never giving up on a problem once you get any leverage over it at all. Never letting go or never giving up. Negatively, a python may reflect abuse of superior power. Never letting go people you want to dominate. Using superiority to stay dominate at all costs. Jealousy of anything ever getting to be dominate over you ever again once you are powerful. Cobras. To dream of a cobra symbolizes emotional hypnosis. You are dancing to the tune of another person or situation in your life. A cobra is a sign that you have allowed a fear or other issue to totally control your decisions and are too accepting of it. Feeling controlled by people or financial situations that scare you when you consider cutting them off. People that control you with sex that you fear losing if you anger them. Fear of leaving a religion you've lost faith in. Feeling forced to do something when it's obvious you don't really care about it anymore. Fearing leaving someone who controls you. Rattlesnake. To dream of a rattlesnake represents people or situations that warn you about unpleasant consequences if you don't cooperate. Obvious warning signs or open hostility. Feelings about there being potential for a serious problem in your waking life. Alternatively, a rattlesnake could also represent your attempt to threaten someone else with an undesirable course of action if they continue doing something you don't like. Warning someone else they are going to pay dearly if they disrespect you or choose to avoid listening to you. To dream of being bitten by a rattlesnake may reflect feelings about having ignored obvious warning signs. Feelings of regret for not having taken a warning or threat more seriously.